Welcome to the Steeping Stone. Today, we're going to spend a little time exploring the Fortunate Frogs, looking at all the things that someone considering this deck might want to know. Once we've met the deck card by card, we'll put it to work with a quick 3-card reading to see how it speaks. Then we'll finish things off with 3 completely ridiculous questions because every deck deserves a chance to show its sense of humor. So grab a favorite drink, get comfortable, and let's meet the Fortunate Frogs Tarot. This is an adorable deck. The box is also amazing. Made, I think, a little bit differently than some of the magnetic box decks, and this is magnetic. But let's start at the beginning. So we've got Fortunate Frogs, Tarot Deck and Guidebook by Devon Short, and done by RP Studio. And it says, hop into the enchanting world of Fortunate Frogs. Take a walk through the woodland, pass some shrooms on the way, hop across lily pads as you watch the bugs play. Ask for some wisdom with your twigs clutched so tight. Seek the right creature to gain valued insight. Once the day ends and you're content and serene, take rest in the grass. May your fortune be green. So it does come with 78 full-colored cards. And so in other words, Froggy Major Arcana, and the suits are not the typical suits. They are shrooms, lily pads, twigs, and bugs. It has a guidebook, and as I said, it is the magnetic enclosure. The box itself feels so solid, and it just feels really good in your hands. It's kind of got a silky feel here. All right, so let's get the box open here. Now, this is an interesting way for this box to be. The guidebook is on this little slip here. The back cover slides right into that. Fits beautifully. And the cards are tucked in here, which is pretty neat. And it has, I don't know if you can see that or not, but it has like toadstools and lily pads, things like that in the green, printed in the green. So let's take a look here first at the guidebook. It looks like we have 58 pages. And let's see if we have a table of contents here. We do. So we have the introduction, tarot basics, card spreads, major arcana, minor arcana, so suit of shrooms, suit of lily pads, suit of twigs, suit of bugs, and then about the author. So let's see which is which here. Let's see. They cover the basics, so talking about a tiny bit of history, how many cards, and then we have some interpretations here where the numbers are concerned, so ace through 10. And then we have keywords for pages, knights, queens, and kings. There are, let's see, shrooms are wands, so the suit of action. Lily pads are water, so think of them floating on water. Twigs, swords, looks like, because of communication. So twigs are swords. And bugs would be pentacles then. The tangible things in life. Then it talks about conducting a reading. Step by step even. Card spreads. It's got a few of them here. Wow. Actually, quite a few. Look at that. Keeps going. All right. And then we have the major arcana. So there's not a lot of information with each. and we'll just choose a card at random eventually here. But it does have information about the card and the keywords, both upright and reversed. And then if we go to the minor arcana, tells you again, suit of shrooms, wands, fire element keywords for the suit, and that it's an active suit. And then gives you ace through 10 upright and reversals, and page through king upright and reversals. Lily pads for cups. I might end up having to look at the book when we try to read here, because my brain will not probably keep that in my head, at least not starting to use it at first. All right, so then we have the last page is the About the Author page. So that fits so beautifully right here. Just like that. And I mean, it's so compact and perfect. Look at that. It just, yeah, that was a great design. Really like the design. All right, so let's get the cards out. They slide right out of there. They even have the thumb hole. Look at that. So we will put that aside. I think we're going to leave the guidebook out just in case. And so here are the backs. And these cards look to me a little larger than a typical deck. But let me see. I'm going to grab something to compare here. All right, so I have Tarot of the Abyss, which I think is actually a little skinnier than your typical tarot. However, I'm looking more at height. So there's the difference here. They are bigger cards. But that's okay. Sometimes, I mean, my hands have a hard time shuffling really large cards, but I am slowly learning how to do them this way, providing you can get them to bend, which isn't always easy. And I'm not going to shuffle right now because we're going to go through these in order. All right, so I'm not sure if you love frogs or not. However, I have been a sucker for frogs all my life. Toads, frogs, it doesn't matter. I've really very much enjoyed frogs. So we're going to move you up a little closer here. There we go. Can we go even closer? Ooh, that's a little too close. All right. Whoops. That was a flip mode. Let's try this again. Let's go closer. Is that going to be close enough? And I'm probably going to have to keep my hand here because for some reason the lighting is pretty funky today. All right, so we have the Fool card, and this is obviously Rider-Waite-Smith in its appearance. Instead of having a dog here, we have a snail, which is apropos, correct, with water. And he has his little bag of goodies that he needs, and he's got a little white flower. And he's ready to step off into that stream and see where it takes him. Doesn't look like the snail's too concerned about that. Oh, and I didn't show you the backs. Look at that. We have frogs going all the way around. Look at that. Okay, so then we go to the Magician. And he is under the water. Trying to show you the color of these cards, but he is underwater swimming up towards the surface. But he's in equal, there's an equal amount below him and an equal amount above him, kind of indicating to me as above, so below. His hands are not in that position, so I'm taking the space as, at least that's how I read it. The High Priestess. And she is sitting in a fantastic place. She has the scroll, is protecting that scroll. And she is definitely in a place that would be for peace. And not sure what kind of fruit this is, but it may have some kind of, it might have some kind of symbology to, let's see if it says, just because. And the High Priestess, look upon her as she sits, ask for wisdom, hear her wits, perched below the blessed tree, symbolizing growth and fertility. She gifts great power without a frown, unless of course she's upside down. In reverse, she brings no delight. Your choices will lack clear insight. Look at that. All of these, this person, this Devon Short, who made these cards, has done everything in rhyme. All the card meanings in rhyme. That's incredible. Okay, anyway. So it doesn't tell what kind. It just shows a nice serene area that she can sit and give out wisdom. And here we have the Empress. And look at her sitting back, looking very pregnant, sitting back in her flower and looking very serene, almost as though she's thinking about, gee, what can I create next? Then we have the Emperor. He doesn't look quite as comfortable, but he has kingdoms to look after, kingdoms to run, right? So he can't be as relaxed, and he's got to be ready for whatever she comes up with. I like his mohawk here, his purple mohawk. He's also holding a lotus flower. The Hierophant. And I think it almost looks like the Hierophant is holding a feather. It's kind of blending in. There we go. Holding a feather, but it isn't a feather. It's one of these. And at first I thought it was like a quill pen. So how does this relate to the Hierophant? This card. Hierophants often have strong beliefs. A higher calling can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people, but this guy just wants to carry on the long family tradition of dawdling. Conforming so rigidly to one's beliefs can have its downsides, but keeping rituals alive can help a community stand the test of time. Okay, so I was wrong. Obviously, there's some of these that probably have some kind of rhyming. At least the High Priestess did. The Hierophant does not. So I just assumed after reading that one. So it may not be easy. I mean, we can see the dawdling. Okay, he's just kind of, he picked the weed or found the weed or the whatever that is called and is really examining it. But he's dawdling. He can afford to dawdle, apparently. Not your typical Hierophant card for sure. Then we have the Lovers. We have the two frogs dancing. Even have the roses around them and the daisies, love me not kind of thing. That's the first thing that came to mind. And the numbers, in case you can't see it because of the light, the numbers are up at the top here. Then we have the Chariot, and look at him riding that koi fish like a pro. That's pretty neat. Strength. And I'm assuming this one is, he has the strength to, well, it's not the same koi fish, obviously. This isn't a koi fish, but I think this is maybe one of those things that they go and they tame the fish to be able to ride on from time to time. So taming the wild beast. The hermit. I have one. There we go. The hermit. And he's just in his own space, listening to the water driplets, smelling the flowers, just looking very, very content and very comfortable. Has plenty of time to think. And then we have the Wheel of Fortune. I love the water wheels. They're so neat. The Wheel of Fortune. And he's got his head in his hands like he's contemplating something specific. And as the water goes back around and drips, the wheel turns. Justice. So obviously these are tarot typicals for names, like nothing has changed with the major arcana. It is a little difficult to tell from the image on the card. Justice. Okay, and because they're doing, the frogs are doing things, but they're not really doing action things. This frog doesn't have the scale to indicate justice. So this would be one. Well, in fact, I'll take a look and see what it says for justice. No one has a stronger sense of morality than this friendly frog. They seek the objective truth and will always jump for what's right. So long as the sun is high, they're stand-upable. Spin them around, however, and you've got a real problem on your hands. A nasty piece of work who will tie your shoelaces together while you sleep. Okay, so for these cards, at least so far in the major arcana, because you don't have certain symbols, certain imagery, you're going to have to know at least a few keywords for each card. One of the easiest cards, I think, in every deck is the Hanged Man. Pretty much, I think anybody who reads tarot knows the upside down frog is the Hanged Man. It should say the Hanged Frog. Then we have Death. And this is a little frog. And the frog hasn't passed. There's a skull in the water amongst the tadpoles. So I'm assuming they're using that to go in and out of, kind of like in a fish aquarium. So it's the transformation from tadpole to frog. That's a clear one. Temperance. And it looks like we have lily pads that this very talented frog is pouring the water back and forth into, balancing. So we've got him balancing on 4 of his toes. So there are things in the card, and I may have missed it so far on the other ones, things in the card that can perhaps give us a clue if we didn't have temperance down here, or we didn't know what temperance meant, for instance. So he's balancing, and he's pouring the water back and forth, doing his best to keep balanced, stay balanced. Then we have the Devil. Oh, okay. Took me a second to figure out what that was, but it's a swan. Can we see the color? It's a swan. and it seems to be after him. So apparently the swan is the devil. Do swans eat frogs? I'll actually have to look that up because I don't know that. All right, so the tower, and it's the lightning strike, and he's falling off the shroom. I'm assuming maybe it scared him so badly that he fell off because I don't see any fire per se. The star. In most decks, this is my favorite card. Now in this one, where I would normally look at the star card as being somebody, or where you get guidance from the sky, from the stars, from your guides, that kind of thing. This almost looks like this frog really thinks he or she is a star. So let us look at that. Card 17. What an inspiring little buddy, full to the brim with optimism. No matter what happens, approach every situation with the confidence and self-assuredness that this frog does. Everyone needs something to believe in, but believing in yourself is most important. Okay, so I did read that one pretty well. This one looks at themselves as the star of themselves. The moon. Now, if we were to see a frog playing a violin in the moonlight with a snail watching, we would obviously know that the shadows were playing tricks with our eyes, right? The sun. And if we saw a frog in the sun playing a banjo, we might actually either have to have our head examined or have to rethink what we know about the wildlife of the world. Judgment. Here we have the call with a little miniature horn type thing. I'm assuming it's like a bullhorn, but if you've ever heard the frogs, they have quite a distinctive call. So that one works too. The world. Gotta look at that one too. It's not, I mean, obviously when I look in the book, it's not telling us a lot about the card. So after your long, winding journey is finally done, it's time for celebration. It's time to have fun. Join hands with your friends in dancing, a jig, feel the rhythm and joy, grab a nice twig. Well done to you, pat yourself on the back. Now for a deep breath, a nap, and a snack. All right, so it's showing, you know, celebration of the end of the journey. All right, so moving on, we have shrooms, which was the wands, ace of shrooms. Two of shrooms. Three of shrooms. Now this one at least kind of gives the image like what's on the Rider-Waite. This one is more, yeah, looking out at the world. Four of shrooms. Another celebration. Feeling at home, turning on his light switch on the mushroom. You could do a lot of playing with these cards, for sure. Five of shrooms. He's victorious because he has 5 shrooms. Did he take them from somebody, or is he fighting with them, or play fighting with them? Play fighting, maybe. 6 of shrooms. Victory. Recognition. That's a little tough. I mean, I kind of understand, but there's, no sign of anybody watching him. So let us see. Oh, yeah. Again, I forgot we don't have anything about the card itself. But the shroom cards tend to symbolize external energy, such as a change to one's environment, an event, or a call to action. So with the 6, it says upright is victory, success, triumph, hopefulness, public acclaim. So this frog is being noticed, wants to be noticed. Doing a victory lap. 7 of shrooms, which would be about taking the higher ground. Must admit, I'm a little puzzled. But I almost feel like he's taking a leap and using these to get to higher ground. 8 of shrooms. So he's throwing them up in the air. Either that or they're flying in the wind and he's catching. 9 of shrooms. Okay, yeah, these cards are going to take some imagination here because, he's in this circle. I don't know why. Whereas normally the 9 of shrooms or 9 of wands would be where you're battle worn. You're just worn out. But I don't know how I'm seeing that in here. But you don't give up. You haven't given up. 10 of shrooms. Okay, so we have a lot of shrooms he's carrying. And please forgive the noise you may be hearing in the background. My Chihuahua is snoring. And the only time he does that so loudly is when I record. And it's just the way it is. All right, so then we have the 10 of shrooms. Page of shrooms. Knight of shrooms. 1 second. Oh, so he is riding the koi and looks like putting that rope seaweed around and using them for reins, looks like. Queen of shrooms. King of shrooms, and we even have the salamander there. Seeing, okay, so for me, and this is interesting too, for me, the King of Wands or King of Shrooms would be active in something, controlling something, an energy or something like that. This looks ever so much more relaxed than that. Okay, Ace of lily pads or cups. It's a cute one. 2 of cups or 2 of lily pads. And by the way, the coloring in these cards is a lot better than what you're seeing down here. It's deeper. It's still kind of pastel-y in a way. Well, gosh, parts of it are pastel. The frogs definitely stand out, as does the flower, and yeah. So don't let the washed out look fool you. They are pretty vibrant. So 2 of lily pads, 3 of lily pads. Definitely know what that one's about. Okay, and here we have the 4 of lily pads, or 4 of cups. One, two, three, 4 lily pads, laying on 1. Yep, gonna take me some work. 5 of lily pads. If you have any idea what some of these look like to you, please put it in the comments. And we have the 5 of lily pads, which 5 of cups, he's alone, he's sad. Not really sure if I get lost from this, but he is alone, and you know, we know that it's a sad card. All right, and we have the 6 of lily pads, or 6 of cups. Seven of lily pads, or 7 of cups. So he's trying to figure out which lily pad to get up on, perhaps, in this. And I'm not sure if you can hear on microphone or not. My central air is starting up, and it's almost like running water sound. So if you hear that, that's what it is. Life just goes on. You got to record as you can. All right, so 8 of cups, or 8 of lily pads. He's hopped on the snail and is going on his way, it looks like. Been there, done that. 9 of lily pads, or 9 of cups. This is definitely a frog that seems to be pretty content. And the 10 of lily pads, or 10 of cups. Would have been fun to see little frogs. Not grown frogs, but little frogs too, just for fun. Page of lily pads. Apparently the pages are musical, because the other page was playing a violin, the shrooms page. Knight of lily pads. Queen of lily pads. She looks like she's doing a spa day. King of lily pads. These kings definitely like fishing. Then we have the Ace of Twigs. Twigs was what? Lily pads. And so twigs are going to be swords, I think. Yep. Twigs are swords. Alrighty. Ace of Twigs. Two of Twigs. Three of Twigs, or 3 of Swords. Now, okay, my way of reading the 3 of Swords is growth of the mind. 3 being growth, swords being mind, communication, that kind of thing. Or betrayal, deceit, but my main way of reading it is growth of the mind. And I'm not real sure here. I mean, obviously he looks sad. He looks bothered by something, but I'm not exactly sure unless he just buried someone. I just don't know. I don't know. A lot you can play with that. So 4 of swords or 4 of twigs. He's doing the resting. 5 of swords. And he's gathering up the sticks. He looks guilty. He's got that, oh my goodness, look. What if I get caught? 6 of twigs. He's going down river. And notice there's 5 twigs back here. He's got the 6th one. 7 of swords. Yeah, he definitely has a kind of looking like he's sneaking off demeanor, doesn't he? That one is very similar to 5 of twigs. And, 5 of swords is, for me anyway, is a kind of a battle card in a way. You're having there's chaos in the mind, chaos in communication. Things are not going as well as they should be going. And when we get to the 7 of twigs or 7 of swords, here it's supposed to be the thief. I look at it as we just don't have enough information as to what is he doing? Why is he sneaking off with these twigs? There must be a reason, but we aren't privy to that yet. 8 of twigs or 8 of swords. Now we see a cloud here, at least what I think is a cloud. Is this showing that, well, a cloud over their head, not thinking straight, not knowing how to get away from that cloud, that way of thinking, feeling like a victim because of that. That's kind of what I get out of that. 9 of twigs, 9 of swords. Kind of a precarious place to be, perhaps. He doesn't look like he's being kept awake as like the 9 of swords might depict. 10 of swords. Well, something happened here because he's got injuries, it looks like, or no, maybe those are his spots. They look like injuries, but I think he's falling and he's maybe going to land on some of these. I think it's coral. So coral can be sharp. Page of twigs. Yep, this one's playing the drums. Page of swords. Knight of swords or knight of twigs. Queen of twigs. King of twigs. Yep, fishing. King of swords. He's very secure in what he's thinking and whatever plans he has. Yeah, I think he's got the wisdom like from the Akashic records. This one's very secure in his thinking, his beliefs, you can tell just by the way he looks. He's in control of that. Then we have the Ace of Bugs or Ace of Pentacles. Two of Bugs is his balancing act here. Trying to decide which one to eat, the dragonfly or the butterfly. Three of Pentacles. Looks like he might be having a conversation with all of them. Holding up flowers to entice them so he can figure out which one to eat. Yeah, I don't know on that. Four of Pentacles. Oh, he doesn't want to share any of his flowers with the bees and the bugs or these look like bees, I suppose, don't they? Bees or beetles or something. He doesn't want to share, though. Five of Bugs. You know, the Five of Pentacles is about being out there on your own, having basically lost everything. Out in the cold, so to speak. I don't know what's happened here. Exactly. Six of Bugs. Or Six of Pentacles. Seven of Bugs. Seven of Pentacles. There is a sun here. Eight of Bugs. Okay, so practice makes perfect. He's practicing and gathering more and more moths. He needs to eat, obviously, so playing his magic. Nine of Bugs. Well, this is definitely one who has everything. Has everything he or she needs. So all the bugs it needs for eating, yeah. 10 of Bugs or 10 of Pentacles. Ten of Pentacles to me is the legacy card. It's what you leave to your loved ones. So they've got legacy, inheritance, security, comfort, tradition. All right, well, there's no other frogs in this at all. So I'm thinking just celebrating in the fact that this is what you have to leave to your loved ones. Confusion. Mine. Okay, Page of Bugs. This one has an accordion. Knight of Bugs. This koi fish has definitely been kept busy. Queen of Pentacles. And King of Bugs or King of Pentacles. So I'd say he's pretty much in charge of the In this card, the Dragonfly Realm. Okay, so those are the cards, and as you can tell, I had not been through them yet. As they were there in order. I had not been through them yet, and as you can tell, I am a little confused over some of the images or lack of symbology in them to help me discern, at least this first time through. Now, we're going to come out a little bit so you're not sitting right on top of these cards. Oh, it's not working. All right, we're back out again. All right, cardstock. It's thicker. It snaps, but for me, this is going to be very hard to shuffle because, well, first of all, Llewellyn, even though a lot of people hate Llewellyn cards, they shuffle fantastic. And I've gotten where I really enjoy the linen because they do too. They shuffle beautifully. Inside Editions has thicker cardstock than this. Okay, that is really hard to shuffle and get apart. This is kind of between those. All right, no etching on, the sides or anything. Let's see here what we get from. See if I can do a side. Yeah, see, they fall in clumps. I don't have the capability of. I'm afraid to exert any pressure because I don't want to bend the cards, because they wouldn't just bend. It'd be a permanent crease. See, they're clumps. So, and I'm pretty sure there's no way that I'm going to be able to ripple shuffle. Now, there are some readers who don't have any problem whatsoever shuffling most of the cards that they get. I can't barely get my hands on this, and I have, okay, so I have a little less here. I can't press. I can't, there's no way to do that. So for me, and this doesn't mean it'll be like this for you, but for me, my way of shuffling is going to have to be like this. And because this doesn't always shuffle the cards so well, I am going to pause the video for a bit, for just a moment, and I'm going to split these cards up as I do ones that are difficult to shuffle, so that we can do a quick 3-card reading here and have our first small conversation with this Fortunate Frog Tarot. So hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, that took a little while. The cards are very silky soft on the back, and well, on back and front. They're not glossy, okay? They're like matte finish in a way, only with a little slippery something to them. And so, and because they're a little bit thicker, I had a hard time getting them apart to be able to get them separated into piles to be able to separate them at all. So now we're going to use 3 cards to ask the Fortunate Frogs its very first question. Fortunate Frogs, here's your chance to introduce yourself to someone who's meeting you for the very first time. What would you like them to know? Split it up here quick. Queen of Twigs or Queen of Swords. 9 of Twigs or 9 of Swords. And Queen of Lily Pads or Queen of Cups. And just for fun, we'll add in the Wheel of Fortune that's on the bottom of the deck. See if I can move us a little closer here. Well, that worked. All right, so as you can see here, we have 2 queens, which means it is a deck of, I'm going to say, nurturing and caring. It's one of those decks that just wants to make us feel good. That's one of the things that it does best, looks like. It's also one of those decks that is going to be very truthful, but in a caring and very nurturing way. If there is such a thing, a very caring and nurturing way. It's a deck that is meant to address, I guess, things that are worrisome, things that are on our minds, things that make us feel exhausted. And again, in a caring and loving, yet truthful way. But if we're looking at the Wheel of Fortune here, it isn't going to read the same way all the time. This is the main way it would like to read, apparently. Always being truthful, always being caring and nurturing about what it's sharing with us, always trying to help us with these worries and sleepless nights, things like that. The calming of the cards, the colors that are very calming, is also part of its uniqueness and its way of helping us gain a little more rest, I suppose. It's also a card that is going to be assisting with our intuition, making it stronger and more useful in reading not only this deck, but perhaps other decks. Kind of maybe a little bit of a training deck, this one. But again, it's not always going to read the same way. So as you can maybe see by the frog in this picture that is sitting with its elbow on its knee and its hand under its chin, as though going, I wonder what that means. Or what should I do next? Anyway, that's kind of the way that this deck would like us to observe the cards, because it isn't going to be exactly the same read every single time. And this is probably going to be one of those decks that can sometimes seem a little out there. There is no earth or no pentacles at all in these 4 cards. We do have air, we have water, and we have fire, but no earth. So it is one of those decks that perhaps you should be grounded before you start using it, because I think with the coloring and the cutesies of the picture and things like that, it could be one of those decks that kind of cause you to float off into La La Land. All right, so I think that's it for the serious conversation here. So now we're going to put these cards back in the deck kind of randomly here and give it a quick shuffle again. And we're going to see if this deck has a sense of humor. We're going to do that by randomly choosing, in this brass kettle here, randomly choosing 3 absolutely ridiculous questions. And we're going to let the deck respond to these questions with only 1 card. So let's pull the first one and see. The ridiculous question is, which card, can we see it? Which card is most likely to start a conspiracy theory? So let us see which card is most likely to start a conspiracy theory. And we get the 5 of shrooms, or the 5 of wands. And, you know, if you just want to keep it funny, it's which card is most likely to start a conspiracy theory? The competitive one. They've always got a lot more, what do you want to say, creativity, a lot more passion, and a lot more energy to put into what they're trying to get across. All right, so we're going to put that card back. That one wasn't all that funny, was it? And we're choosing, well, I grabbed it without having you on camera here. And we have, which card could survive a zombie apocalypse? Okay. Which card could survive a zombie apocalypse? Oops. All right, let's see. We have the 7 of Swords. The sneaky one. The one who knows how to hide what they're doing the best. That was pretty straightforward, right? And the last absolutely ridiculous question. Let me swish these a little more. Oop. Ting. I can't even get this one open. There we go. All right, get that out of the way. Which card definitely sings in the shower? Well, let us see. We get the Queen of Lily Pads. Yeah, I don't think there's anything funny about that one because it is so true. You can just see her singing in the shower. This is her spa day. And she just knows that the frequency, if she's singing, is going to be even better for that spa day, right? Okay, so that's it. And I think it was a pretty good first meeting with the Fortunate Frogs. I'd really love to hear from you in the comments. For instance, how would you have interpreted your favorite ridiculous question from today? Or if you have a ridiculous question you'd like me to ask a future deck, leave that in the comments too. It just might be one of the ridiculous questions that is randomly chosen in an upcoming video. So thanks so much for joining me today. Until our next card conversation, take care.